In the dead of night, in a quiet Iowa town, a killer crept through a sleeping house, axe in hand. 8 souls, 6 of them children, never woke up. Their blood stained the walls. Their mirrors were shrouded, and the murderer vanished into the darkness, leaving behind a mystery that haunts America to this day. Welcome to Villisca, Iowa, 1912, where the echoes of that brutal night still linger in the house that saw it all. The Moore family was the heart of Villisca, Iowa, small, thriving railroad town in 1912. Nestled between rolling hills and fertile farmlands, Josiah B. Moore, a charismatic 43-year-old businessman, was a pillar of the community. With his warm smile and sharp mind, he ran a successful hardware store, earning the respect of everyone in town. His wife, Sarah, 39, was the gentle soul who played the piano at the Presbyterian church, her music filling Sunday services with hope. Together, they raised 4 children: Herman, 11, Catherine, 10, Arthur, 7, and Paul, 5 each, full of life, their laughter echoing through the white frame house at 508 East 2nd Street. The Moores were the family everyone loved, their home a beacon of warmth in a town where doors were left unlocked and neighbors were like kin. On June 9, 1912, the Moores attended a special Children's Day service at the church, a joyful event filled with hymns and celebration. Catherine had invited 2 friends, Lena Stillinger, 12, and her sister Ina, 8, to spend the night. The girls, daughters of a wealthy farming family, were excited for the sleepover, their giggles filling the air as they walked home with the Moores under the summer stars. The house was alive that evening, buzzing with the innocent chatter of children and the comfort of family. No one could have imagined that this would be their final night alive. But as the Moores and their guests settled into their beds, something sinister was already in motion. Hidden in the attic, a shadow waited, silent, patient, and ready to unleash a horror that would scar Villisca forever. As midnight fell over Villisca, the Moore house grew still. The children were tucked into their beds: Herman, Catherine, Arthur, and Paul upstairs, Lena and Ina in the guest room downstairs. Josiah and Sarah lay in their bedroom, unaware that death was already inside their home. The killer, who had likely slipped into the attic hours earlier, emerged from the shadows. With deliberate steps, they moved through the darkened house, the floorboards creaking faintly under their weight. The axe, taken from the family's own barn, gleamed in the dim light of a chimneyless lamp. The killer began upstairs. Josiah and Sarah were the first to fall, their skulls crushed with brutal precision as they slept. The children followed, one by one, their small bodies defenseless against the savage blows. Downstairs, Lena and Ina met the same fate. Their sleepover turned into a nightmare. The killer worked methodically, covering mirrors with cloths and draping garments over the victims' faces, as if to hide their own reflection from the horror they'd unleashed. Before leaving, they washed the blood from their hands in the kitchen, leaving a basin of pink water. A plate of uneaten food sat on the table, a chilling sign that the killer had paused to eat before slipping back into the night. By dawn, the house was a tomb, its silence broken only by the distant clucking of untended chickens. The killer was gone, leaving no trace but the carnage they'd wrought. By 7 a.m. on June 10, 1912, Mary Peckham, the Moore's neighbor, grew uneasy. The house was too quiet, no children running to feed the chickens, no smoke from Sarah's stove. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. Alarmed, she called Josiah's brother, Ross Moore, who arrived with a spare key. What he found in the guest room stopped him cold. Lena and Ina Stillinger, their faces unrecognizable, lay dead in a pool of blood. Ross stumbled back, shouting for Mary to call Hank Horton, Villisca's primary peace officer. Horton arrived to a scene of unimaginable horror. All 8 residents of the house were dead, their heads shattered by an axe found in the guest room. The town descended into chaos. An all-call alert drew hundreds of curious residents, turning the crime scene into a spectacle. People trampled through the house, touching the axe, staring at the bodies, and even taking fragments of bone as souvenirs. By the time the coroner arrived, the scene was hopelessly contaminated, with little hope of preserving evidence in an era before modern forensics. Investigators scrambled for leads: the covered mirrors, the garments over the bodies, and the killer's eerie calm in washing up and eating suggested a calculated mind. Early suspicion fell on Frank F. Jones, a powerful local businessman and state senator. Josiah had worked for Jones before striking out on his own, taking a lucrative John Deere contract with him. Rumors swirled that Jones harbored a grudge, perhaps enough to hire a killer. Another lead pointed to Reverend George Kelly, a peculiar traveling minister who'd been in town for the Children's Day service. Kelly, known for his odd behavior and history of mental instability, had left Villisca on an early morning train, hours before the bodies were found. The investigation spiraled as leads turned into dead ends. Frank Jones seemed a promising suspect. His wealth and influence made him untouchable, and whispers of a hired hitman fueled speculation. But no evidence linked him directly to the crime, and his alibi held firm. Reverend Kelly, meanwhile, became the town's obsession. His strange behavior, peeping allegations, a mental breakdown in his youth, and his hasty departure from Villisca made him an easy target. In 1917, police extracted a confession from Kelly. After hours of grueling interrogation, he claimed a demon had driven him to kill, but he later recanted, and two juries found the confession coerced. Kelly walked free, leaving investigators empty-handed. Another theory emerged: a traveling serial killer. Similar axe murders had struck nearby towns: Colorado Springs, Ellsworth, Kansas, and Monmouth, Illinois, all with chilling parallels. Victims were bludgeoned in their sleep, mirrors covered, and no clear motive. The FBI speculated that a single killer, perhaps a drifter, was behind the spree. In 2017, journalist Bill James pointed to Paul Mueller, a German immigrant and logger, known for targeting families and covering mirrors. But with no forensic evidence or witnesses, Mueller's guilt remained a theory, tantalizing but unproven. Each lead promised answers, yet the truth slipped further away, buried in a fog of rumor and fear. There was no breakthrough in the traditional sense. The Villisca case was crippled by the chaotic crime scene and the lack of forensic tools. The axe, the only solid evidence, was too contaminated to yield clues. The covered mirrors, the garments over the bodies, and the killer's eerie calm suggested a ritualistic mind, but no fingerprints or DNA existed to confirm it. The basin of bloody water and the uneaten food hinted at a killer who felt at home in the carnage, yet no suspect matched this profile definitively. The closest the case came to a breakthrough was the serial killer theory. The similarities between Villisca and other axe murders: Colorado Springs in 1911, Paula, Kansas, days before Villisca, and Aurora, Illinois, in 1914 suggested a pattern. Detective James Wilkerson of the Burns Detective Agency believed William Blackie Mansfield, a cocaine-addicted ex-convict, could be the culprit. Mansfield was seen boarding a train near Villisca the morning after the murders, but his alibi held, and he was never charged. The theory of a wandering killer like Paul Mueller gained traction, but without concrete evidence. It remained a shadow of hope in a case drowning in mystery. The Villisca Axe Murders remain a wound that never healed. No one was ever convicted. The town of Villisca, once a pretty place, became synonymous with Waliska, the native word for evil place. The house at 508 East 2nd Street stood as a silent witness, its walls holding secrets no one could unlock. Over the decades, it passed through owners, each reporting strange occurrences: disembodied footsteps, flickering lights, and an oppressive weight in the air. In 2014, a paranormal investigator stabbed himself in the house, claiming no memory of the act, as if the house itself had turned on him. Theories still swirl. Was it Frank Jones, driven by greed? Reverend Kelly, unhinged by his demons? Or a faceless drifter, like Paul Mueller, whose trail of blood stretched across the Midwest? The truth is as elusive as the killer who slipped away that night, leaving behind a legacy of fear. The Villisca Axe Murder House stands today, restored to its 1912 state, daring visitors to uncover its secrets or become part of them. The Villisca Axe Murders are America's greatest unsolved mystery. No justice was served, no answers found. The house at 508 East 2nd Street remains a portal to that horrific night, its walls whispering of the lives lost and the killer who escaped. Visitors still flock to Villisca, drawn by the allure of the unknown. Some hear voices, others feel a presence, and a few, like the man in 2014, leave with scars they can't explain. Is it the spirits of the Moors and Stillingers, trapped in their final moments? Or is it something darker, a remnant of the evil that shattered a town? One thing is certain, the Villisca Axe Murder House will never let its secrets go. Dare to visit, and you might just feel the weight of that night pressing down on you, forever unresolved. Subscribe for more chilling true horror stories. Have you ever visited a haunted place? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share this video. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.